What's up, everyone, and welcome to another Bitcoin market update. Let's start off here on the monthly time frame. Now, as we can see on the monthly time frame, we're getting this declining bull volume. We closed the monthly candle in 3 days and 9 hours, so it's important to keep that in mind as we increase. We may potentially be getting near a top. A short-term top. It doesn't mean that the bull market is completely over, but we may need to come down and set a monthly higher low in comparison to this one from September. Let's go to the weekly time frame here. Weekly time frame closes in 8 hours and 40 minutes. It looks like we have a longer lower wick of people buying the dip. This is slightly surprising given that we have had two subsequent weekly bearish divergences here, and we have not come down significantly on each one. We break the low and we trade down a few percent, but then people buy the dip. We break the low, we come down a few percent, and people buy the dip. We may go up one more time here, and the main resistance level that we're looking at is this weekly pivot level, the R3, which is up at about 63K. So that's going to be our main resistance level. What we could potentially see is we could see the price close right around where it's at, come up, tap this high, and then come down into this purple level. So the purple level is our main support level, and that's down at about 38,000 down to about 28.8 or 28.9 rather. Let's go to the daily time frame and get a little bit more clarity with what we're dealing with here. So these are on the hourly chart, so let me just switch these off of the daily. So when we're looking at the daily time frame, there's a couple things to keep in mind. So we did change the daily trend to bearish right here, and that's what this red level is indicating here. We had a high, low, lower high, and then lower low right here, making the last candle where people were buying a resistance level on a retest, and that's what we got right here. And we subsequently pushed down and ran into this blue zone, which is actually a 3-day support level. If we look right here, we can see that the price is currently trying to bounce off of this blue zone. It has subsequently bounced off pretty significantly. If you were to make an entry on the top of that blue level, you would already be up over 7%. This is a trade I talked about taking but did not personally take myself due to the daily time frame being bearish. But this is a valid support level, and if we do break once we close this 3-day candle in 8 hours and roughly 40 minutes, if we break the subsequent 3-day high, you can see that on the RSI, if you look closely, you can see that we're printing a hidden bullish divergence here. So that's where we have a lower low in the RSI. This low is lower than this one, but the price is making a higher low. So what that tells us is that this is actually bullish. The price is invalidating the oscillator and basically saying we're still strong up here. So if we break the 3-day high once we close, we will subsequently see a push higher once this hidden bullish divergence becomes valid. So let's look at the daily time frame. Like I said, we're running into the red level right now. We have a declining bull volume on this rise in price as we run into this red zone. Now, what we could potentially see here is a drawdown before, a potential of that 3-day level that we talked about, the 3-day high getting breached right here. For that level to be broken, we could see us come down in the subsequent day or so, and then push above that. So that is a likely, it is a scenario that I'm watching for. The other thing I'm watching for is a daily close above this high right here, this white candle, because this was going to be a resistance level that we talked about a few days ago now, and this level did not hold up on the first test of it. So what that's indicating is we might end up turning this into a support zone if we close today's candle right here and the next subsequent daily candle above this. If we do, then this will end up being a very strong support level for us that I will look to enter a long position on. This is something I talked about over the past few days. Is initially it should have been resistance right here. We're trying to push. We pushed through it once already, but we have to close a couple candles above it to turn it into a support zone. And yesterday's candle, believe it or not, closed just below it, like about 1.5 points below this level. The high of this is at 55,858, and this candle closed at 55,856. So it barely closed below it. So it's not. If we get a candle close today above it, we'll need one more above it to turn this into a support level, and then from there we can then look to see if we can continue to push higher in the subsequent week, I would say. And the weekly candle will also give us confidence that we may push higher if we close the week with this long lower wick right here. Now, what are we looking like on the lower term time frames? On the lower term time frames, we're currently bouncing off of this level that is where this is the first test of that, and that's this black candle right here. Now, why is this a valid support level for us? This level is valid because we had our low, high, higher low in comparison to this one, and then higher high right here with these two candles closing above this high. So what that then signifies is on a retest of this zone, this purple zone right here, this should act as support. And indeed, that's what it's doing right now. It's acting as support. Now, I looked at this trade earlier. I did not end up taking this one myself just because the daily time frame is still in a bearish trend, and I have to stick with my strategy, which is a strategy that is taking a high time frame bias and then shifting that down to a lower term time frame entry. So if we're on a high time frame bull trend, then I'm looking for longs on a shorter term time frame. If we're in a high time frame bear trend, then I'm looking for short entries. So I did not take this trade, but you can see that it's already starting to trade up from here. Interestingly enough, the trade that I talked about yesterday that people may have took that I talked about on this channel was this level back here, this doji candle. And you can see that this level reacted perfectly as well right here with a trade up to the previous daily level. Now, I talked about this being a nice one because of the risk to reward. So let's just talk about that real quickly. So if we're talking about the wick of the candle, or I'm sorry, the body of the candle being the entry, it's roughly right about there. And then taking this up to the daily resistance level, which is red level, and putting our stop loss below, still gave us a risk reward of about 2.35. So that was still a good day trade to make. And you can see that that panned out. So you would have made about 3.5% if you did take that trade. I did not personally take it, like I said, because of the fact of the daily time frame being bearish. Once we shift that back into favor of the bulls, I will start to take some of these trades. But it's better to protect your capital than be searching for gains. So that is the main level that we're looking at. Now, if you don't have the 12-hour time frame on your chart, you can also see on the 4-hour time frame this level right here. It's basically, the 12-hour level is basically the top of this 4-hour candle right here down to about the low of this black candle right here. So that's going to be your support zone. You can see that we tested it once right here. We tested the high of this rather. We didn't test the 12-hour level because the 12-hour level has to be tested on the time frame that it's on. And this is the first test of that, this 12-hour candle. And we're pushing up from there. So it is like this level does give me confidence that we could end up seeing that 3-day hidden bullish divergence on the RSI here with a lower low and then a higher low play out. And if that ends up being the case, then we could end up going to a new all-time high quicker than you might imagine. So this 12-hour level is the bulls' kind of main must-hold level, in my opinion. If we push below this and close 2 candles below this purple level, this will end up turning into a strong resistance level, potentially pushing us back down below for new lows. So the bulls really want to hold this level, and the resistance level they're running into is this white candle right here, which is at the bottom of the red zone, the daily candle, up to about 58.4. So this goes from about 56.3 to about 58.4, and that is our main resistance level. You can see that we rejected off it once right here, twice right here, and now we'll probably try and test it a third time. Now, the same exact thing goes for this level. If we end up pushing through this level and closing 2 candles above it, a retest of this level would be a good time to potentially long and go to the 63K mark that we talked about being the weekly resistance level. So that is what we're dealing with on Bitcoin right now. I'm primarily watching the daily time frame and the weekly close. I always like to look at that on the weekend, or on Sunday rather, because it's such a critical close. I mean, like every week you get one of these candles to close. So it's a big deal, which one, the way that it, kind of the way the candle looks and how it closes. Last week, we closed it with an inside bar, and then this week we broke down below that, but then we had a lot of people buy the dip. So people are still pricing in the fact that they are still bullish on Bitcoin. So they're kind of pricing in the fact that the market is saying, we don't care that we're losing strength. We still think this is a good buy up here at these prices, and we want to at least have one more stab at an all-time high before going down into potentially a higher time frame like the monthly, forming like a higher low on the monthly time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, what we're watching for is this 4-hour candle to close kind of like how it's closing right now, with a very bullish increase in bull volume here. You saw the declining bull and then bear, and then now we're getting bull volume here. So that's coming off of that 12-hour level. Not surprisingly, the price is reacting to these levels very nicely. When you have, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, when you have levels that are being tested for the first time, they usually hold up pretty well. So if you guys don't have these time frames, it's because you don't have the pro version of TradingView, which I do recommend getting. It's only $15 a month. It's very affordable, and it allows you to save your charts. So like if I have an idea, if I'm a technical trader and I'm looking at these levels, I can click on this little cloud right here, and once I see that check mark, it saves this. So now if I go to a different chart, like if I looked up a different cryptocurrency and came back to this one, it would still have my idea saved. So I can come back to this chart on my mobile device or on my computer, and I can see the same ideas, and I don't have to re-chart out all of the levels that I already charted out earlier in the day. So it saves you a bunch of time. It saves me a bunch of time at least. So I do highly recommend it. There's other nice features that come with it as well. But that's the main feature that I definitely really appreciate. We have our first, one last thing I wanted to say, we have our first live audio chat in the Lutheria community on our Telegram channel that you can join for free using a link in the description below. Today we have a special guest on, my good friend Greg, who is an account executive at a cryptocurrency software provider company called Luca, and also an experienced cryptocurrency investor as well. So he'll be on, and we'll be having a conversation about Bitcoin, Ethereum, smart contracts, disruptive technology, the future of cryptocurrency, and a ton of other really interesting topics. So you'll be able to listen into that live as we have that conversation, and actually ask us questions live in real time as well, which is really really valuable, I think, as someone that's just beginning to learn some of these concepts. So feel free to tune into that. It's going to be starting at 3 p.m. CDT or 9 p.m. British Summer Time. So if you're in the UK, it's going to be at 9 p.m. If you're in somewhere like the US, it's going to be at 3 p.m. So definitely tune into that and join our Telegram community using the link in the description below. And I look forward to seeing you there. Until next time, subscribe for future educational content, and I will see you next time. Onward and upward.